Yeah.
Aaron is doing
We're off. All right, we're looking at figure 395, and now 395. A few things that we got to look at with this one is that these are 60-degree angles coming up at a certain measurements of this one and this one, but more importantly, this center point. That center point is not based off of that point. It is based off of this angle coming up. So the center point here is based off of this angle coming up and up at 3.5. So that's probably the biggest point to this one is, again, the center point is off of this angle coming up, not off of that corner right there. All the other measurements are pretty self-explanatory. Coming over, going up at an angle, going up at an angle. We'll get these little fillet parts right there. Maybe the other hardest part of this one is this second line here. It doesn't tell you the measurement between here and here. And I'm just going to tell you that is a 1-inch measurement between that line and that line. Once again, off our centering worksheet that we've already went through, I'm going to come down at those measurements and come down the other measurement here. It's almost the size of my paper. I've got the measurements that are directly off of the side here. I'm going to go ahead and get my box. The box is maybe not as particularly important in this one because the box is really not being used all that much. Like the top part of this box is pretty irrelevant because that entire top of that box and really the sides will be erased. But what's important here is this lower left-hand corner. It tells us to measure over a certain distance from that corner. And it is a 60-degree angle line up, so I can use my 60-degree triangle. Then it tells you to come over a specific distance here. And another 60-degree angle coming up. And then I told you that the center point of the circles are based off of this angled line. It says to come up 3.5. So I can measure up 3.5. Run this line across. That is now my center point for the two circles that I need to draw. The two measurements here are 1 5/8 radius. So the radius is using the compass. I will set my compass down here and I'm going to go 1 5/8 with my compass. Use my center point. And if I do it correctly, it ought to pretty much line right up with that second angled 60-degree line. I like maybe off a 1/16 of an inch. The biggest one is 2 9/16 radius. So set my compass to 2 9/16. There's the next biggest circle. So the drawing starts to look good here. It gives you a measurement on the drawing over in this part of how tall this part is right here. It kind of it's 1 inch. So you got to look at that. I'm going to measure up 1 inch. Draw that line across. Now what we got to do is put in the fillet rounds right there. It says it is a 1/2 inch radius. But if we use the diameter template, we got to double that 1/2 inch. 1/2 plus 1/2 is 1 inch. I will use my circle template to butt it to each side of that. There's my round. Then I said before that it doesn't give you a measurement for this other angle part here. I'm just going to tell you that it is 1 inch. So I'm going to measure over 1. Use my 60-degree triangle. And now I can put my 1 inch diameter template. It's going to be a really small round, but it's a round just the same. Right there. Now I can start coming in and erasing out what I don't need. Actually, I need that. You're going to erase out that, all the pieces all the way around it, pieces up in there, until you get the drawing looking like what's on the screen on figure 395. So right now, 395 is completed once you erase what you don't need.